I think the word diversity is wrong. I think that the idea of diversification of the screen is not quite right because it's actually confusing everyone. And what's happening is we're mistaking that for we have to include a person from every single race and every single background and every single part of the human experience in every show or everything that we make. That's not reality, and it's not authentic. I never grew up with a group of friends where there was someone who represented every ethnic group in my group of friends. I don't want to see one token Polynesian character in your show, okay? That's just weird. And, unless it makes sense. What I want to see is a fully Polynesian controlled Polynesian story that's written by and show run by, okay? I don't want to see, when we make our things, don't give us a white showrunner to tell us the rules and tell us how to do things.
What's up, everybody? Derek Anderson, the DA. All right, check it out. I have been waiting to make a video like this for a long time, okay? Because somebody has finally admitted the quiet part out loud. Somebody has finally said what the reason is behind all of the race swaps that you see in Hollywood lately, okay? The whole DEI, the ESG push, all of that crap, this diversity push. Okay, somebody has finally admitted the real reason behind it, and it has nothing to do, really doesn't even have anything to do with diversity. It doesn't have anything to do with creativity. Oh, we just made a creative choice to change this character from this to this. Okay, it has everything to do with white guilt. Okay, that's what it's about. All right, this guy right here, you can see on this headline on Bounding in the Comics. Invincible co-creator Robert Kirkman stands by race swapping in Amazon's animated adaptation. We have to recognize a couple of dumb white guys made this comic book in the early 2000s. That's what it's about, okay? This guy is feeling guilty because he didn't put enough black people or he didn't put enough different racial demographics in his work back in the early 2000s. And he feels guilty about that. So now he's calling himself a dumb white guy. See, this had nothing to do with diversity. This had nothing to do with inclusion. This had nothing to do with any of that bullshit. This was all about his guilty conscience, all right? He's trying to soothe his guilty conscience. He feels some sort of way because, oh man, back in the early 2000s, I didn't put any diverse characters in my books. But now woke Hollywood is showing me the light. I'm a changed man, So yeah, we're about to race swap everybody because, back then I was just a dumb white guy, all right? Let me go ahead and jump into this. I got a lot to say about this. But look, I just been waiting for somebody to say it. They always try to hide behind all of this other crap. It's the white guilt. That's what it's all about. According to series co-creator Robert Kirkman, the decision to race swap a number of core characters in Amazon's animated adaptation of Invincible was born out of his personal belief that he and artist Ryan Ottley failed to make the original comic sufficiently diverse, particularly by modern standards. As can be confirmed by audiences who engage with both iterations of the hero's story, a total of 3 members of Invincible's cast were subjected to Hollywood's favorite method of virtue signaling, which is obviously the race swap, right? Okay, so the first one was Amber Bennett. The obvious one was Amber Bennett, okay? Because Amber initially was this blonde-haired, blue-eyed white girl, okay? And then they switched her out for this asshole. You remember this chick? Man, the girl from the comics is so lovely and so wonderful and so nice. They switched her out with a total asshole. Total asshole. I didn't understand that move at all. She's a completely different looking character. She's a completely different acting character. Why not just call her something different? Okay? Give her a completely different name because she's a completely different character. She's nothing like the character from the comic books. That's the worst part about it. And then it says, not as apparent thanks to the somewhat racially ambiguous nature of their depiction in Ottley's original artwork, both series protagonists Mark Grayson and his mother Debbie also had their identities altered to leap to the small screen, where their comic book selves were both white and half Viltrumite in Mark's case. Their animated incarnations have been explicitly confirmed to being as of Korean descent. Okay, so they made a slight alteration there, but I don't think that bothered people as much as it bothered with Amber. Speaking of TV Guide, ahead of the Amazon series' upcoming second season, Kirkman revealed that despite the backlashes these changes had received, much of it born from fans' disappointment that the series' first foray into a new medium would be less than accurate to the characters and stories they had loved for nearly 2 decades. That's unbelievable. He changes it up after 20 years, but whatever. They believe the result was a net positive for the representation. Yeah, nah, okay. Asked by the outlets Cat Moon how much this concept of representation was on your mind when you were working on season 2, Kirkman asserted that's something that's been really important to us. We have to recognize that a couple of dumb white guys made this comic book in the early 2000s, explained the Walking Dead creator, and there was a real lack of diversity in that series. And also with the Invincible character himself, we talked to fans at all the conventions and places we would go, and because his ethnicity was ambiguous in the comics, everyone identified with him. You see, here's the thing about it. If you do make the ethnicity just kind of vanilla and plain Jane, everybody is going to identify with them. You know, if you don't just put a stamp on something and say, well, this is a white guy, this guy, that guy, if you don't make race an issue, a lot of different people will come out and say, oh yeah, I like this character. This character speaks to me. You know, that's what you should want. You shouldn't want to identify with some sort of a skin color or whatever. We would have Filipino fans come up and say, I'm so excited that you made Mark Filipino. We would have Mexican fans come up and say, we're so excited that you made Mark Mexican. And it was just amazing to see how important representation is on a personal level when you're face to face with the person, he continued. Because I grew up at a time where I went to see Rambo and Die Hard and Terminator and every movie that came out when I was a child, and I watched a bunch of tough white guys do cool stuff. And I was like, this is a lot of fun. And you end up being in this bubble where you have no awareness of what it's like to live in a world where you're not seeing yourself reflected and all of these other things. Listen, I grew up in this same damn era, okay? I grew up in this same era with Rambo and Die Hard and Terminator, okay? All of these various Arnold Schwarzenegger and all that kind of stuff. I grew up in that era, and that was my jam. This is the stuff that I watched when I was a kid growing up. That's the stuff that I, probably more than any other films, was the Arnold Schwarzenegger films. Commando, and you talk about Terminator, Predator, Running Man, all of that stuff. That was my jam, man. Conan, I love those films. And listen, he says, I watched a bunch of tough white guys do cool stuff. But see, I didn't see this white guy part of it. I just saw a bunch of tough guys doing cool stuff. And as a little boy, that's what you are attracted to. Hey, all of these tough characters, He-Man, favorite toy series, white character, didn't really think about it, didn't really care, all right? That's what's so frustrating about this stuff, because look, he's saying that because of that feeling, this white guilt that he's feeling, okay? Oh, I didn't grow up in that era. I didn't know what it was like to not be able to see myself. I feel bad. So let me go ahead and race swap Amber into a different character. But see, that's the problem. This is the insult. This is what I tell you, okay? The fact that he thinks that black people and minorities need to be pandered to, all right? This is fake and phony. You didn't create the character this way. So why change it now? Because of your white guilt? Get the fuck out of here with that. Wait, what you think? You gotta honor us noble savages with a cheap skin color change? That's not what we've been looking for. And look, these cats that he's talking about here, where he was saying, where is it at? Oh, I'm so glad you made Mark Filipino. Oh, I'm so glad you make Mark Mexican. Okay? All of this kind of stuff. Have you ever thought hey, look, there's nothing wrong with my creation, okay? There was nothing wrong with my creation the way it was. It came from my own ingenuity. It came from my own imagination. It was fine just like it was. Maybe it's these guys that need to stop seeing themselves through skin color or whatever, or identifying with skin color. It's like there was nothing culturally about Mark that you could say was Filipino or Mexican in the comics or in the television series. Or a Korean. He's just a regular kid. If you didn't tell them that, oh yeah, this person is this and that, nobody would know or care. Okay, again, the only reason you're doing that is this cheap virtue signaling bullshit. Stop it. Especially with Amber, because look, you created a beloved character with this one, okay? This Amber was beloved. She's so happy. This soul's panel here is talking about how happy she is when she finally finds out that Mark is a superhero or whatever. And she's all smiling and cheesing. She's so excited, okay? This chick, what did she do when she found out Mark was a superhero? She left him. Pissed off. It was annoying. This character was the worst character that anybody... I was like, damn, why did she got... It's almost like you feel like, man, why she got to be black? Oh, she's acting like the typical angry black. It's like that Taika Waititi video that you saw at the very beginning of this video, okay? Nobody is asking for that crap. Nobody. Nobody's asking for it. I said the exact same thing on the Black Aragorn video that I did a while back. You guys remember that video? I'll link it above if you didn't see that. But it's the same thing. Black people have not asked for any race swaps. We are not asking for race swaps. If you're going to do any type of, okay, we need to put a black person, whatever, create new characters. That's what I've been saying. That's what black people have been saying. Okay? Nobody asked for them to do any race swaps with this particular woman or even with the other, changing Mark and his mother to Korean. Nobody is asking for that crap. So the only reason it's being done, and again, this guy just admitted to it, is because of his own damn white guilt. That's it. That's the only reason this shit is happening, okay? And that makes it an additional extra slap upside the head, okay? That's an additional slap in the face. Because then you're just basically reducing all these characters to skin color. And guess what that makes you? That makes you the racist. It's honest to God racism. And you just don't see it. You just don't see it because you're so happy to be swapping skin color. Okay? Oh, look, I get to swap a skin color on. This is amazing. This will show that I love black characters and I want to see more black characters. No, what it's doing is it's reducing black people to the color of our skin, not the content of our character. This is what you care about, skin color. You don't care about the characters. You care about the skin color. You care about looking good. You care about soothing your white guilt. That's what it's about, and that's what this guy is saying in this article. The Direct posted a similar article. Invincible TV creator defends race-bending white main characters. He had this quote where Kirkman also said representation actually benefits projects. Anytime something can be changed to bring more representation into it, I think it's very important because there's a tremendous amount of people out there who don't see themselves in what they consume, but it's also very important because there's an audience hungry for this stuff. It actually benefits projects. So aside from being the right thing to do, it actually helps these projects these days, which is a great thing. Yeah, again, they're thinking that, oh, we're going to get more money from the black audience, okay? As long as we go ahead and, do some race swaps in here, we're going to get more money from the black audience, and that's a good thing. It actually benefits the project. Again, once again, man, this is just terrible. This is, again, the insult that I'm talking about. It's about, trying to get some black characters in there so you can get some money. If you wrote the character originally that way, whatever. But if you're just doing a race swap so that you can quote unquote benefit your project, and the only way you can benefit it is, oh, well, we'll get more black consumers to like this. All right. Then it's inauthentic. It's fake. It's phony. I'm not here for that. I'm not here for that at all. I'm probably not going to watch this. I'll be very honest with you. And I was just reading this, okay? I got the compendium, okay? So I'm perfectly fine with my Invincible content. I don't necessarily need to watch this show. I just think these cats are sad and they're deeply entrenched in woke theology, okay? It's really a religion. They're deeply entrenched in it. And they think that they have to abide by this weird god of DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion. They have to, bow down to this God any way they can, and that somehow that'll get them into the kingdom of wokeness. I don't know what they're doing this for. This white guilt stuff, though, to me, that's for the birds, bro. Okay? You should have just, hey, you know what? I'm just doing this for diversity's sake. But by calling it out, by saying that it's white guilt, it told me everything I needed to know. I've always felt that way, that some of these creators, I shouldn't say everybody, but a lot of these creators are doing this strictly on the benefit of their own guilty conscience. They're trying to benefit themselves and their guilty conscience so that they can feel better about what it is that they've done in the past, which was absolutely fine. There was nothing wrong with this guy's work, okay? There's nothing wrong with your work, Robert Kirkman. Stop feeling guilty because some jackass at Amazon told you to feel guilty that you didn't do enough for the black community back then in 2000, like 20 years ago. Oh, you didn't do enough for the black community, bro. Why don't you race swap a few of these characters? Oh, you didn't do enough for diversity and equity, so you're going to have to add some more diverse characters in this. These guys in Hollywood, they are insulting us with these race swaps. And that's why I'm going to keep making videos about it. You guys might get sick and tired of it, but I'm going to keep calling it out because it's dumb, it's stupid, it's reductive, okay? It's this simplistic thinking that makes you think, oh, this is all black people need, or this is all we need to feel good about ourselves or whatever. And maybe that does make you feel good about yourself. But, again, I'm going to call it out. It's just racism. It's just racism by another name. That's all it is, all right? Anyway, folks, you guys let me know what you think. Go ahead, jump down in the comments. Give me your thoughts and opinions on that. And thanks for watching. See you next time.